Exist With Me ASMR. I'm so glad you could join me this evening. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who has reached out in the comments. You have no idea how much it means to me, and I sincerely mean that. I have been told horrible things about myself my entire life, and so I was very nervous to start a YouTube channel, and so far it's been such a wonderful experience. I can't describe to you how excited I am every single time I get a new follower. It means so much to me that so many of you have reached out in the comments to tell me what to do with my content and just help guide me along this journey, because at the end of the day, it's about you guys. And so I really appreciate you giving me tips and tricks on how to make my videos something you want to watch. So as promised, I'm gonna do another paperwork sorting video tonight, and I'm going to try to incorporate some of the things you guys asked for. If I'm strong enough, ripping more than one paper at a time and ripping papers into smaller pieces, since I'm not putting them through a shredder. So without further ado, I'm going to start on the paperwork, and I hope you guys like it. As always, it would mean the world to me if you would hit the subscribe button or the like button, or even just leave a comment. All of those things, you have no idea how much joy they bring me, and I love getting to interact with you guys in the comments, like actually being able to talk to another adult. You would be surprised how much that means after talking Toy Story with an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old all day. I wasn't sure I was going to talk about this, but my husband is an addict, and so due to some poor choices on his part, we aren't able to live together, and he works a lot trying to get a place for all of us to live, because people don't want to rent to former addicts, and people don't want to rent to people with no income, because I am still waiting for disability to hopefully one day come through, because apparently, according to my neurologist, none of my symptoms are from my MS, even though they correspond perfectly to the lesions in my brain. So they're all psychosis that I'm completely making up because of my incredibly mild depression, which I didn't even know you could have incredibly mild depression and psychosis. So until either I'm a star or, sorry, it's funny to me because I highly doubt I'll ever be a star, but until my disability finally comes through, I don't know what they want me to do. I told you guys about that neuropsych testing I did. They had me push a button, just like for maybe 30 minutes. And like I said, by the time I left there, tears were streaming down my face. My hands were both tremoring uncontrollably, and my arms were jerking. Also, it felt like my brain was on fire. And I had to be by myself and take a minute and take my anti-anxiety meds to not feel like the Titanic on fire. So let's get started, because I'm already yapping way too much. I pulled this file out especially because it's papers from my previous employer, and I don't So, things I've done in the past. I have worked in retail. If you've also worked in retail, I'm sorry. I have been a human service worker, working with the homeless, giving medication, mail, and that kind of stuff. I have worked at Michael's for like 5 years, 3 different Michaels. So shout out if you ever met me at the Traverse City, Toledo, or Perrysburg Michaels. I am that coupon bitch. One per day per customer. Walking out the door doesn't make you a different customer at a different day. I also have been director of sales for an e-liquid company. That was pretty awesome. There's a lot of stuff in the news about vaping nowadays. I can tell you that popcorn lung from vaping is total BS, and you shouldn't believe it, because there's 100 times more diacetyl in a cigarette than there is in even like the worst e-liquid. Now, don't get me wrong, the e-liquid that you buy from the gas station from China has rat feces and arsenic and all kinds of horrible shit in it. But there are reputable companies, and I do encourage people to research what they're buying, whether it's e-liquids, CBD, even energy drinks like Bing. Don't ever hit me up for a sponsorship if I start to get subscribers, because I know about your super creatine, and I'm gonna kick my husband's ass if he drinks another one. But yeah, that made me feel really good about myself, because I was never a popular kid, ever. And when you're a woman who's like a bigwig in the vaping industry, you're pretty damn sexy. Whether that's normally true or not. I also worked in e-commerce for Shop Goodwill. That was an interesting experience, let me tell you. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I basically staged a coup when I left that job. There was some shady stuff happening, and I'm just not down to go to like FBI jail for my employer. But it helped me a lot for what my family does now, which is run an eBay business. And it taught me that I know what's worth money and what's not, and to trust my gut and use that. I think my first month I sold a dress with a note for just under $7,000. It was pretty cool. It was like an old brocade dress, hand sewn, and all I did was put the picture of the dress up, and I typed what the note said. And what the note said was that the fabric that was used to make the dress sold for $7,000 to a lady who said she hoped it fit. And honestly, at $7,000, I really hoped it fit her too. But yeah, that's what gave me an interest in reselling. And my husband is amazing. And he is always very encouraging of anything I do, which is awesome. And so he has helped me because I'm not, sorry, my heat just kicked on. Since I'm not always able to do things because I don't know what kind of day I'm going to be having with my MS, he's just so encouraging and has really helped me to try to make some of my dreams come true. And I just appreciate it so much. He's such an amazing guy. So yeah, those are some things that I have done in the past. And now I'm here talking to you guys on YouTube. Drawing a blank. I just heard my kid yell "damn it" from the room. So the little one is the one who set me up to hurt my foot. He has not even cared about re-injuring me and standing on it with his full body weight. He's brutal. It was really funny the other day. We were saying goodbye to my husband, dropping him off, and the 2-year-old was like, "Do the robot." So he's like doing the robot, and my 2-year-old goes, "Oh, broken robot." I was dying. That child, he's responsible for all my gray hairs. I went to the chiropractor today though, and I love going to the chiropractor. I always feel so much better afterwards. My husband actually became an addict because he works construction, and I hope you guys weren't too low to hear me. He works construction, and he had a cement slab dropped on him that crushed his spine, and he had to have spinal surgery, and he had to relearn how to walk, and they put him on painkillers. I don't know the specifics. It was before we met, but they put him on painkillers, and then they just cut him off because of, all the people who abuse painkillers. And so he became a heroin addict. And when we went to the chiropractor, he had some laparoscopic spinal surgery. But the chiropractor looking at the x-rays said that my spine was way more effective. I always win those contests. The contests that nobody wants to win. Like, whose life is the shittiest? Like, one of the biggest things that annoys me is when somebody goes to tell me about, like, how they're in pain because they hurt their foot or something, and they're like, oh, but I shouldn't be complaining to you because you have it way worse. Like, oh gee, thanks. Because of the MS. Or, when I finally started reaching out to other women and going to, like, support groups and stuff about domestic violence, we would all share our stories, and I don't know if I just, like, coped by telling myself that it wasn't that bad, but women would say, like, oh, I shouldn't be complaining to you because the domestic violence you went through was way worse than what I went through. And again, who wants to win that contest? So yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. Or oh, it was my son's game. There was like a weird ringing sound. I panicked. I mentioned, and I don't even know if it stayed in or if it cut off because of the way my camera's been doing me. But I mentioned that I have a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old, but that I have been pregnant 5 times. Well, between my 8-year-old, almost 9-year-old, and my 2-year-old, I lost 3 babies in the second trimester. And it was bad. With the first one, I had to have a blood transfusion. And that blood transfusion made it so after my 2-year-old was born, he ended up in the NICU because our blood wasn't compatible. Because I had like anti-big C antibodies that started destroying his red blood cells and gave him severe jaundice. Yeah. But they kept telling me that, like, oh, it's just a fluke. And, like, the first time it was like, okay, you're supposed to be safe in the second trimester, but it was a fluke. The second time, when they told me it was just another fluke, I was kind of like, I don't want to question your medical expertise, but 2 flukes seems pretty extraordinary. So they ended up doing some genetic testing and finding out that I have the MTHFR 1298C gene mutation. And then they were able to figure out that I was getting like blood clots in the umbilical cords. And that was what was causing the losses. So then I was no longer with my abusive Joshua, my little one, I had to be on daily blood thinner injections at first and towards the end of my pregnancy because I refused to have a C-section, because when they tell you that there's like a high risk of you bleeding to death while giving birth, the thought of letting them cut you open seems a bit crazy. So I was very adamant that I didn't want a C-section. Plus I knew I was coming home to take care of the baby by myself. And my 8-year-old. So I didn't want to have a huge, I didn't want them to cut through all my abdominal muscles and tell me I couldn't lift a gallon of milk and I had to take care of a baby by myself. So at the end, I had to go on a different blood thinner that there's like an antidote to or whatever, and do it twice a day. And I'm a person, because I have this corpsey complexion. This is not makeup. It is. I'm wearing makeup, obviously, but my makeup is darker than my actual skin. It's hard to find a really nice shade of corpse in makeup. And so, I was just covered in bruises. Because I also was on injections for my MS. So it was a fun time all around. But, with the blood thinners, Joshua made it through, and I'm very grateful for that. But where I was going with that, I had to think about it for a second, is that's another one where women will go to tell me about their loss and then temper themselves because I've been through worse. And just because you perceive what I've been through as worse than what you're going through doesn't mean that you're not entitled to share your misery and pain. I think it's kind of awful that we live in a culture that makes us feel like we can't tell other people about the things we're going through because somebody always has it worse than us. I think that leads to just a lot of holding stuff in and suffering that doesn't need to happen. I mean, I know the first time I went through it, I was absolutely terrified because nobody talks about it. It's this taboo subject, and so you don't know what to expect. And when I was in the ER that night, first of all, the first time I had to dig for a doctor. I'm sorry for my language tonight, but I did. I had started bleeding. I went into the ER. I had my neighbor drive me. Because my husband at that time was an over-the-road trucker. And he was over the road. So I called my neighbor and asked her to come drive me to the emergency room. She was also my best friend. And she did. And I had the ultrasound, and those ultrasounds, let me tell you, are horrible. I still, when I went in for So he came in, and of course I went through all this by myself. So I'm going to do it again. He came in and he said, I don't know how to tell you this, but your baby's dead. He said, there's probably nicer ways to say it. Fetal demise is the medical term we use, but it means dead baby. And I'm telling you, my jaw had to have hit the floor because I just couldn't believe that he would say it like that, you know? And they told me that there would be 3 options when I got to the hospital, and the 2 days in between, one of them, the last one before I went in to deliver, was June 21st, which they kept announcing on the radio all day is the longest day of the year. And I was sitting there like, no duh. So it just would have been nice if more people talked about it. So I would have had any inkling whatsoever of what to expect. Sorry, this like... Apparently I'm experiencing technical difficulties tonight. So I just wish it was more talked about. I'm sorry that I randomly picked a bummer topic to talk about while ripping up paper. I will try not to do that next time. But yeah, so I'm tired of winning the game nobody wants to win. It'd be really cool to not do that. And I'm sorry I'm not more dressed up for you guys, but from the beginning I kind of wanted this channel to have a more like we're friends and you're coming to hang out with me in my living room kind of vibe. I mean, obviously, because you can see my kids have like gotten stuff on my couch cover, and I don't know, I tend to like videos where it doesn't all seem like a stage production. I want it to feel more like you guys are my best friends, and you know, you're invited in whether my house is perfect or, you know, if it's been a rough day, which, let's be real, any mom in quarantine knows that they're basically only rough days right now. I literally had to keep my kids from killing each other earlier. Like, they've just, I think we're in the 270s of days together in isolation, which is intense. Intense. One of the things I was thinking about the other day is, can you imagine if, like, you were to wake up from a coma right now? Like, I was going through my phone, away from each other, and just like, what would it be like if you woke up and you were fine and this was just life now? Like, it would be a lot, and it is a lot on all of us. And sometimes it just seems kind of surreal, you know? So that, like, things can go back to normal. But I just don't have a lot of confidence because of just the way this virus is. Like, you only have immunity from getting it again for a short amount of time after you get it. Like, I think they said 10 to 14 days. And unlike most viruses where each time you get it, like, it's not as bad. Each time you get this, it's closer to killing you. And so, like, none of that says, like, oh, a vaccine is possible. Like, that all seems like some sketchy shit to me. I don't know. When I was younger, I actually was going to college to be an oncology nurse. I wanted to be able to help people in their final days so that it didn't have to suck so bad. I've been through a lot from the time I was very young. When I was little, I had a lot of things happen to me. I was sexually abused. I got a little sister who had severe health issues, and my mom got cancer multiple times, so I got shipped to grandparents and just, kind of made to grow up fast. So I just have always wanted to help other people have an easier time. And that's probably why sometimes I'm too willing to talk about awful experiences. But I truly believe that, especially in this technology age, none of us is ever truly alone. And so, if talking about things I've been through helps one person, then I'm happy. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I'll save more bummery stuff for non-sorting and tearing episode. And there will be lots more of these because honestly, like the box you guys saw in the last thumbnail doesn't even scratch the surface don't realize the stupid, simple actions that they're doing that are dangerous. Like, me and my husband went to a bookstore the other night, and I'm gonna take a drink of water because I hear my voice starting to get a little like raspy. I'm trying to drink a gallon of water a day. So this is my bottle. But as you can tell, I'm not really meeting my gallon because I'm at 9 a.m. We were in a bookstore, and my husband was like, "Look, Booba," that's what he calls our 2-year-old. "That looks cool. I'm gonna touch it." And the bookstore guy was like, "No, don't touch that. That's gross." And he was kind of like, "Okay." And the guy was like, "Everyone touches that. It's like COVID City." So yeah, I found that hilarious. And I was just like, "See, I told you, you're not nearly as careful as you think." So, yeah, I'm not really accepting visitors right now. And this portion of the video is called "Watch Coco Struggle to tear a thin stack of papers for, we'll see how many minutes." Yay! So yeah. Plus, I am really digging this whispering thing, especially with some of you saying that you like the way I whisper. Because I have always been super self-conscious about my voice. I don't know why. I mean, why are any of us self-conscious of any of the weird things we're self-conscious of? And, you know, obviously, I've had health issues pretty much my whole life. When I was younger, I had like severe asthma. And so, when I was little, I was like really skinny. And then, about the 4th grade, I started getting really sick. And I put on some weight. And so, I was always that girl that was heavier than the other girls. And even now, like, I've lost because it is not an easy gig, trust me. What it's like to be a special needs mom. What it's like to be a mom to a child that's basically feral despite your best efforts. All the things. But I'll try not to make them the ripping and tearing videos. Because I want my videos to help people, not be a bummer. So I hope you'll stick with me and give me the opportunity, because I'm probably gonna try a whole hell of a lot harder than someone who's had an easy life. Because one of these days it would kick ass if something worked out. Me and my husband would be living together if we didn't live somewhere where housing is super hard to find. And, you know, if he hadn't gotten in trouble. And I hope we get to live together again before my MS gets too bad. Not to work after tearing up all of these papers, but I wanted to give you guys plenty of ripping and tearing. Probably put a disclaimer, like, in the description, just so you know you're walking into some sensitive topics, because I don't ever want to trigger anyone or make anyone feel bad. Who have been through this kind of stuff need to know that other people have experienced it too. I'll rip that one out next time. So, thank you once again for existing with me. I sincerely appreciate each and every single person who views my videos, and I'm not just saying that, I really do. So thanks for existing with me. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are when you watch this. And I hope you'll join me again soon for another Exist With Me ASMR. I'm gonna throw some shit in the air and hope we get a good thumbnail. Bye. I'm gonna hate myself later when I'm cleaning all this shit up.